Today's practice is going to get into the upper back, the shoulders, and just generally help us to undo some of the sitting and the computer work that I'm sure we've all been doing lately. So let's begin on our backs with our knees bent. So you're gonna sit like so. Make sure you have plenty of room above your head, so to speak, as you lay down, so that you can move your arms freely in this direction. But before we do that, we're gonna start with the hands to the belly. Back of the neck long, just rock your head a little side to side. Settle your feet down heavy into the ground. And imagine your thigh bones resting heavily into your thighs. Jaw is relaxed, eyelids heavy, back of the neck long. Imagine each and every bone just settling down, settling into the mat. Your elbows getting heavy, jaw heavy, forehead smooth. Keeping your lowest ribs rooted down, you're going to reach up and link your thumbs. And reach your arms by your ears. And then right back to vertical, reaching towards the ceiling. Reset, drop your ribs. Back of the neck long. If thumbs linked feels a little pinchy on your shoulders, then just have your arms apart. You could have a towel if you'd like between the hands. If you hear any squeaking or creaking, it's probably my floor or a door in another part of my apartment, my home. And you can keep your eyelids closed here. The eyelids closed is going to give you a little extra access to notice when your mid-back starts to fly up off the floor. And I want you to not let your mid-back fly up off the floor. So there's an energy of rooting and grounding at the lowest ribs. Last one, arms reach. And this time as the thumbs hit the ground, hopefully, you're going to reach and you're going to try to traction your spine. Reaching one arm then the other. It's a little bit like the 80s stretch move. But just really lengthening, allowing your shoulder blades to lift up towards your ears. Keep the arms here. Draw your knees into your chest like so. And then arms are going to open to a T shape either side. Feel free to have your eyes open now. And if you're limited in space, as I am, just roll with it. Drop your knees as far as you can to the right, but don't let your knees drift away from your shoulders. So you're gonna kind of keep the knees up and over. You might notice that your knees don't stack. You might notice that your thighs don't even touch one another right now, and that's perfectly okay. This is more about getting the twist into the upper back. I invite you to turn your chin opposite direction of your knees and be here for about 2 to 3 breaths. And then inhaling, chin to neutral, knees back into your chest. Stretch yourself long again through the arms. And then open your arms back to a T shape, knees to the other side. Gaze goes opposite the knees. Don't worry if your knees stack or stagger. What you can experiment with is the difference, observing the difference between the knees being pointed away from your chest versus up towards your chest. Up towards your chest, you're going to get a lot more concentration of the upper back into the twist, which is really where we should be, where we have the most mobility anyway in our skeleton as far as rotation goes, as far as the spine goes. And then bring your chin back to center, your knees back to center, and go ahead and settle your feet down. And we're going to do a few rounds of rolling bridges. I know this is one that I teach a lot, but it's truly a favorite because we're going to be articulating the spine, tailbone lifts, vertebra by vertebra lifts. And so you should be able to feel, hopefully, a little bit of differentiation, level to level to level, or inch by inch by inch, in your upper back, in your lower back, in your mid back, as you raise up and you lower down. You can go as slowly as you like with these or as quickly as you like. I've got my feet apart almost to the edges of the yoga mat. And I've done quite a lot of these over the years, so I'm moving fairly quickly, so feel free to go a lot slower than I am. And then as you lower down next time, roll to one side, and you're going to prop yourself up just on your forearm. So you'll look a little something like this. And what we're going to do here is sink the rib cage down. As you sink the rib cage down, your top arm is going to reach by your hip. It's a little like Cleopatra position. And then you're going to push through that elbow that's on the ground. Reach the arm by your ear and sweep the arm up as you sort of rainbow up. So we're going to get some side bend into our thoracic spine. Let your breath be easy and full as it can be. Inhale up, drive your elbow down, exhale, sink it down. Again, move at your own pace. If you want to add a little bit of challenge to this, as your arm comes down, you can glide your feet up into the air. You'll feel your core kick in a little bit. This is like a mermaid tail swish. And last one. Let's take it to the other side. So if you're mirroring me, you're going to now be on your right elbow. And we're going to be going through a sagging of the ribs. So I'm actually just allowing my rib cage to sag here, sag into my shoulder, arm by the side of the hip. And then I'm going to drive my elbow down and reach the arm by the ear. And sink and reach and sink and reach. And keep moving in a way that feels nice and nourishing to your body. If you would like, you can lift your feet like they're glued together. A little bit of a mermaid shape here. And this will usually kick in your core a bit. Because I'm not lifting from my knees, I'm not even lifting necessarily from the hips. I'm actually lifting from the muscles above the pelvis to try and lift and shrink all of this. Your obliques are intimately connected with the muscles between the ribs. And we've got one last repeat. And then let's come onto hands and knees for table position. Instead of a typical cat and cow today, let's start to go in circles. So you're going to round your spine up, over to the side, down, belly down, and over to the other side. I always think about getting the last of the peanut butter out of a peanut butter jar as I do this. Just clearing out the edges. I encourage you to kind of alternate in one direction to the other direction. And then breathe into any areas that might feel a little bit restricted or tight. Hang out in that spot. Go ahead and come to a neutral spine now and lower down onto your forearms. There's my creaky floor talking to us. Elbows out to the sides just a little bit. Start to sag through the chest. You're going to feel your shoulder blades perhaps move a little towards one another. And then exhale and round. And as you round, I want you to lean forward like you're going into cat pose. Sag, inhale, and exhale, round. In a moment, we're going to switch up the direction in which we inhale and exhale. But for now, just keep it steady. And the next time you round your spine, really, really round, pressing the mid-back, the upper back up towards the sky. Get a sense of breathing into your upper back. Inhaling and expanding back body. And then exhale and sink the chest down. Inhale and round. Exhale, sink. If you've never done it this way, it can be a little bit confusing. Inhale and round. And exhale, sink. And last one. Inhale, rounding and expanding your wings, upper back. Exhaling and sinking and sagging. If it's available to you to come onto your wrists, please do so. And we're going to bring the left hand just under the nose. I like to separate my knees a little bit wider here, and then right hand to the back of the head. So we're going to go into these like little sprinkler shapes. Open and sag. Open and sag. So the right hand is at the back of the head, and I'm twisting, I'm pushing the ground away with the hand that's still on the floor. And just 2 more of these. We got another side, so shake it out a little bit. Root your right hand down to the floor now. Bring your left hand to the back of your head, and then open and close. Spray the yard and return to your neutral. You can add your eyes into this if you'd like. Turning your eyes in the direction that you're spinning. And last one. Good. Lower down and come back into your child's pose. So inside a child's pose, one of the things we can play with, child's pose or table pose, one of the things we can play with is wiggling your elbows out a little bit, resting your forehead down, and just seeing if your elbows can come up off the floor, your forearms that is, can come up off the floor, and tap your back. So this takes a lot of length in our triceps, and it takes a certain amount of, very few skeletons will be like limited from a bony perspective here, but some may be. So you're getting that length in the triceps, getting a little bit of sag in your upper back. Let's just do 2 more of these. I know it's not easy for many of us, but just tapping your upper back. And then root your hands down again. Shift forward. Glide back into that forearm table position. Driving your outer forearms into the floor. Curl your toes under. And I like to look through my knees, spread my toes, and then raise the hips nice and high. So one of the things we need to work on here is driving the elbows down so that the head doesn't rest on the floor. So I'm really using the muscles around my shoulder blades. I'm using the muscles that help me to elevate and upwardly rotate the shoulder blades. And I'm shifting a little right and left, right and left. Good, go ahead and settle down. And then walk yourself back into a kneeling position here. So kneeling from here, we're going to bring our palms together over the heart and then reach the arms out in front. Keep your left hand at where it is and open your right arm as far as you can behind you. Bring it back to center and open your left arm as far as you can behind you and back to center. I have to make some accommodations for space. So if you have to do that too, go for it. You can do the rainbow, the circle like I'm doing. We're getting good rotational mobility in our upper back, good shoulder blade mobility, trying to reach 90 degrees or 180 degrees behind you. And then one last time, each side. When you come back through to center, hands to your hips, shift your weight over to your left leg, and then just see how slowly you can settle your right foot out in front of you. Palms press over the heart. Spin as far as you can to the right, to the same side that your front leg is open to, is set up. And then that elbow, try to bring that elbow, that front elbow, to the outside of your front leg without too much wiggling. And then come right back up to neutral. So this is going to look like a tap and neutral, tap and neutral, tap, elbows just tapping into the outside of that front leg, and last two. Last time you get there, keep your elbow to the outside of the front leg or forearm to the top of the thigh, and you're going to bring your opposite hand, your top hand, and either wrap it around the wrist or keep the palms pressing together, and then get just a little bit of added leverage here. So you're looking out over the top shoulder, hanging out there for a breath or two, and then gaze towards the floor and root your hands, curl your back toes under, and go ahead and step back to a plank position. So for those of you who want some good, challenging, upper body stabilizing moves, I'm going to encourage you to tap opposite shoulders. Now you can turn the dial down on that by about 20% just by putting your knees down to the ground. And you can also just do a little shifting side to side, where you just lift one palm and then the other. So pick your own adventure, choose your own adventure. And then find stillness and lower all the way down to your belly. Bring your forearms down to the ground, coming into sphinx pose. Elbows are going to be wider than shoulder distance here, so you don't have to bring them right underneath the shoulders. Keep the elbows wider than shoulder distance. And move with breath. Look over your right shoulder, look over your left shoulder. As you look over each shoulder, make sure your pelvis stays pretty neutral. Looking over the right, we're going to add that the right knee bends, kicking your butt. And looking over the left, you're going to add that the left knee bends, kicking your butt. So just going side to side. Scapular mobility, thoracic mobility. Maybe feeling some snap, crackle, pops happening. And then right back to center. Drive it up, and then take one hand straight out to the side, one arm straight out to the side. And switch, and other arm straight out to the side if you've got the space. And switch, and first arm is going to reach straight forward, maybe by the ear. And switch, and other arm is going to reach straight forward, maybe by the ear. Try not to sag. So we just go kind of around the clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then come right back down, press up through table, and we'll take the lunge to the other side. So first find your kneeling, and then shift your weight onto your other foot in this case, or other leg, in this case my right leg. Slow motion, set your left foot in front. Palms press over the heart. You can always come with an intention for your yoga practice, just to keep us rooted in something, in the layers of who we are other than just the physical. So palms together over the heart, come up with your sankalpa, your intention for your practice today if you'd like. It can be a prayer for something internally that you're experiencing or something externally or someone. So from this half kneeling position, so we're not quite in a deep lunge, we're not sinking into it. We're gonna spin and just tap the front elbow to the outside of the front leg. So opposite elbow to outside leg. Revolved side angle is a position that uses a lot of leverage of the upper body, kind of using our arms to spin ourselves into the depth of the twist. But when we just tap, we don't have enough time to do that leveraging. So what happens is you're inevitably using the muscles right around the thoracic spine a lot more actively. The next time you bring your elbow to the outside, go ahead and press it in. Pull your top shoulder back, come into the depth of this. Now we are adding a little bit of leverage, but there's a quality here of pushing back into the elbow with the knee. And if that doesn't work for you, if you start to feel a little claustrophobic here, if it just feels too restrictive, you can bring your forearm onto your leg and then opposite hand to wrist. Top shoulder back. Gaze is over that top shoulder. Lower the hands. Lift your back knee. And go ahead and step back to plank. Roll to your tiptoes. Lower down. You can lower down knees first, or knees, chin, and chest. And from this position on your belly, you're going to first just float your shoulders and your chest up off the floor. Then you're going to float your hands off the floor. This is what I would call maybe a baby cobra position. And then you're going to slide your hands a little bit more forward and really squeeze back with the shoulder blades and start to curl your chest forward like a candy cane, right? Look over your right shoulder, look over your left. Notice how close my forearms remain to the ground here. They're really close to the ground. Back of the neck stays long. And then I try to create more length in the body as I lower down. Press up to hands and knees. From table position, bring your right hand under your nose again. And again, bring your left hand to the back of the head. We're gonna lift and lower. Same kind of sprinkler action that we did earlier. And this time, keep that going, or keep the elbow pointing towards the sky. You're gonna take your right knee, pivot on it, and then open up that left leg, yeah? So straighten your left leg out, sink your left heel down, press through the arm that's rooted into the ground, and lift up with the elbow that's pointed towards the sky. Good. So you can do a lot of different moves here. We're gonna do something for the outer hip, but I want you to make sure that you're comfortable with your hands. So feel free to come onto your forearms if you need to. Feel free to put the seat of a chair under your arm or under your forearm. Feel free to put a block under your hand. And then start to lift and lower the leg that's behind you. Nice and controlled, soft lowering. Go ahead and settle your knee, settle your hands, lift your right knee off the floor and step back to downward facing dog. You have an optional vinyasa here, so when you're ready, inhale, take it forward, exhale, lower down. I recommend using the muscles of your back body to find your way into a back bend, and then connecting to your core, finding a neutral position before returning to down dog. going to change directions so you guys can see. So from here, we're coming back to table position. Please lower your knees down to the ground. Settle them right under your hips. Hands right under your shoulders. You're going to bring your left hand directly under your nose. Separate your knees a little wider if that feels good. Right hand, back of the head. Drive down, spin, and sprinkler. Elbow up, elbow down, elbow up, elbow down. You thought this would be so nourishing to get out of the, to do all the upper back release, yeah? But a lot of times it's just really hard stuff, this included. The next time you lift up, spin on your left knee so you can straighten out your right leg and come into the side plank type position. And from here, keeping your hand that's on the ground really rooted, lift and lower your back leg. So outer hips active, rib cage is lifting, shoulder blades moving, all the muscles around them engaging. Nice soft landing as you lower, and nice controlled lift with that back leg. Last repetition. As you settle your foot down, root your hands and optional vinyasa. Feel free to take child's pose as well here. If you are in downward facing dog right now, see if you can lower onto one forearm and then the other. A little bit of a turbo dog. And if you're in child's pose, shift forward, come onto your forearms, downward facing dog for dolphin. Again, keeping the head high off the floor, using the muscles around the shoulder blades to help stabilize. Shift your weight a little right and left. And then go ahead and settle and rise up to kneeling again. We're going to shift the weight onto the left leg or your outer leg. Slow motion, bring that right foot forward. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, open towards your right, so both arms reach in opposite directions. Face forward, palms together. Inhale up. Exhale, open. Palms together, inhale up. Exhale, open. And one more time, palms together, inhale up. Exhale, open. Press your palms in this spun position. Lean it forward. Option to bring your elbow to the outside of the knee or forearm to the top of the leg. Gaze over your top shoulder if that works for your neck, or you can look forward or you can look down. Please curl your back toes under. Create a lot of friction between your front arm and your front leg. Make sure your right foot's a little closer to the right side of the mat, left foot's a little closer to the left side of the mat. And then from there, gaze can be downward for a little added steadiness. Maybe lift your back knee for revolved side angle. Parita Parsva Konasana. All hands down. Downward facing dog. Vinyasa of your choice. We'll meet and greet in downward facing dog on the other side. And as you're ready, settle down to your knees. Find your way to kneeling. Please bring your hands to your hips. You might notice that just this act of kneeling engages a couple of glute muscles, engages like some added muscles so that you don't go into a back bend here. I really like kneeling, and I actually use this pretty frequently for like my work at home position. I'll set my laptop up on, something that is around belly height when I'm kneeling, and it seems to be, to me to help keep my hips from feeling creaky. So shift your weight onto your outside leg, in this case my right. Nice slow motion press, step of your inside leg forward.
And then reach both arms forward. The arm that matches the leg that's forward is going to go up, over the rainbow, out, and down. Palms together, up, over the rainbow, out, and down. So we're drawing this big mandala, opening, closing, opening, full breath as you stretch the arms in opposite directions, closing, and then last one. As you bring your palms together over your heart, we're going to tap elbow to outside of the thigh and neutral. Elbow to outside and neutral. Feel free to come onto your forearm rather than get the elbow all the way to the outside. So wherever you are, land, create a little friction. Top shoulder rolls back, gaze can be forward or up towards the ceiling, or for a little added steadiness down towards the ground. Left foot closer to the left side of the mat, right foot closer to the right side of the mat. Curl your toes under, lift your back knee, spin it up. Revolved side angle shape. Gaze to the ground, all hands down. Step back to plank and roll through the vinyasa. Yogi's choice. Take this as gently or as fiercely as your energy calls for today. Once you are in downward facing dog again, walk your feet in a little, might feel a bit awkward. Widen the feet away from one another, and then walk your hands a little bit close to one another. You're going to reach your right arm over towards the outside of your left thigh and create a little bit of a spin action here. So the arm that's on the ground, in this case my left arm, pushing really, really strongly into the ground. Inhale, neutral. Switch the hands and take it to the other side. I'm pressing really strongly into the ground, almost pushing the ground away with the arm that's still down. And then back towards center. Go ahead and settle down through the knees and take a seat on your heels if this is available to you. We're gonna play a little bit with camel pose, but we're gonna play with some variations that don't look as fancy as both hands down to the heels, but can be way more interesting for your upper back. So here's what we're gonna do. In kneeling, check that your knees, they don't have to be completely parallel or touching. You can actually have your knees a little bit wider than your hips. Believe it or not, this will turn on your glutes more than if you keep your thighs a little bit more parallel. And that's just because of the shape of gluteus maximus. So toes can be touching, knees just a little bit further apart than you might normally have them. Let's start by interlacing fingers at the sacrum, at the lowest part of your low back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, keeping your elbows bent, deeply bent. Back of the neck long, lift your chest. And start to drive your knuckles downward as you straighten your elbows, lifting your chest up to meet your chin. So your knuckles may not go very far, your back bend may not look like much, but in your upper back, hopefully you're getting a feeling of your shoulder blades creeping together as close as they ever could. Lift your chest a little bit higher, like there's a magnet from the center of your sternum up towards the ceiling. And then inhale up. Find neutral. Switch the interlace of your fingers. Squeezy, squeeze, squeeze your shoulder blades towards one another. Lift your chest, chin down, chest up, drive knuckles. Heart beams towards the ceiling, and allow your glutes to be really active here. I didn't mention this, but cushion under your knees is everything. If this bothers your knees, add whatever you need underneath of it. Come back. And then keep the shape
Glutes engaged, chest lifted, shoulder blades squeezed, and instead of keeping your fingers interlaced, put your hands on your buttocks. You're gonna have your fingers pointing forward, wrapping around the sides of the hips. Palms press forward. Shoulder blades squeeze even more. Chest lifts even more. So delightful. Inhale, rise up. Shift your weight onto your left leg. Slow motion, arms can help you to balance. Settle your right foot down to the ground in front of you. You're going to bring both hands to the back of the head. Pull the heart up towards the ceiling like you're just sunning yourself on a beach chair. And then keep the chest lifted. Keep the right hand, the one that matches your front leg, right to the back of the head. And you're going to take your free hand, reach it down, root your hand to the ankle perhaps, or even to your hip. So you've got lots of options here. And just lean back. There's a bit of a side bend, a little gentle bit of a twist, and definitely a big back bend in your upper back happening right now. To make this even more active, you can press and reach the arms in opposite directions. And then come right back up. And let's switch sides, shake it out a little bit. So opposite leg forward, in my case my left is forward right now. You're going to take the same side hand to match the leg that's forward to the back of your head. Hands can interlace at the back of the head. And start to lean back like you're just sunning yourself on a beach chair. Get a sense of lift and lengthening. And adjust your back foot as needed, however it makes you comfortable. And then you're going to bring your back hand, matching your back leg, either to your buttocks, or if it makes sense for you, to that heel back there. So this is definitely a side bend for me. It's a little bit of a twist because I'm lifting my chest towards the ceiling. My shoulders are facing a slightly different direction of my pelvis. And it's definitely a back bend, as I'm sure you can feel. And all the muscles of the shoulder blades are engaged. Arms can reach in opposite directions. You can do this without resting on your back heel at all to make it more active. And then come on up to center. My upper back worked really hard on that one. I don't know about you guys. We're gonna take a nourishing form of the vinyasa or child's pose if you prefer right now. One gentle, nourishing form of the vinyasa is kind of from child's pose. Imagine you're rolling a marble with your nose. Come onto your belly, float the chest, float the arms. Again, engagement and activation. And then connecting to your core. So I actually draw my ribs and my pelvis closer to one another in the front body. And then I reach myself up and back, downward facing dog. Lots of activation through the arms. And then settle down through your knees again. Rise up to kneeling. Shift your weight onto your right leg and step onto your left leg and step your right leg forward. We're going to play with one big challenge pose, right? So building on everything we've done, rise up from your back leg, hold onto the wall if you need to. And first just take on this basic lunge, yeah? You can bend and straighten your front knee a couple of times. And then sinking into your front leg, please bring your hands to the back of the head and pull your heart up towards the sky. Reach the arms towards the sky so it becomes more of a conventional crescent lunge. And then open to the side of your front leg. Arms reaching in opposite directions. Pull the palms together like you are just shrinking up an accordion, and then push the arms away so you're pressing energy out. Exhale, squeezing that energy right back in, concentrating it. Press away. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, press.
Exhale, squeeze, and then lean forward, elbow to outside of the knee or forearm to the top of the leg. You're going to want to have a little bit of space in front of you, so you're going to see me adjust. And I'm going to show first the version with the forearm on top of the leg and my top hand pushing down into the wrist. I'm going to lean forward, make sure this weight is really parked in this front leg, make sure my toes are really spread, make sure I'm on an even section of my floor. Gaze is steady, that's the drishti, and all the weight in my back leg is really just in the toenail right now. So from here, if you feel comfortable, you can practice lifting this back leg. If it feels like really heavy, because our legs are a little heavy, you can also just tuck it in. So you can either lift, try to lift it as high as possible, or just tuck it in towards your standing knee. Now you can do all of this also with the elbow to the outside. So pick your playful position. Gaze is down. With the elbow to the outside, there's a lot more outer hip work to push back into the elbow to create that friction. And this is a pose I probably wouldn't stay in terribly long, but it's a nice playful experience and expansion that you can just do out of curiosity, see where it takes you. We're going to root the hands, step back, lower your knees, rest your chest, inhale, back bend, get that candy cane shape of your spine, and then down dog or child's. Gather your energy. We've got this powerful pose on the other side. So it's important to rest before we power up. And then from table position, shifting forward to table, go ahead and find kneeling. Take your outside leg and step it forward. Back toes curl under, and we're going to play with just getting on and off the floor. Right? Find that conventional crescent lunge, bending and straightening your front knee. Palms press over the heart, hands to the back of the head, keeping the knee deeply bent, float the heart. Thoracic extension, reach the arms, full shoulder flexion. Shoulder blades are rolling and moving and elevating, and then palms together over the heart. Start to spin and press open. Shrink in the accordion and spin and press. Shoulders are as parallel as they can be to the edges of the mat. Choose your path. Choose your position. As you exhale next, palms can stay pressed, or you can bring your forearm to the top of the front leg. Top arm wraps around the wrist. The key component to landing the balance here is really going to be very slowly taking the weight off the back leg. So shift forward like you're pouring a precious liquid, like you're trying to measure it, into a measuring spoon. Gaze downward will help you get to the point where you really feel that the weight is only in your back tiptoe. Stay rooted, pressing into the top leg, front leg, and see if you can float your back leg or snuggle it in, one or the other. There's the snuggle, there's the float. Nice, good challenge. You can do this also, of course, with the elbow to the outside. So pick your position, pick your poison, and then once you're done playing, settle your foot. Come into plank with your front hands and your back leg, and then enjoy down dog or vinyasa as you wish.
we're all going to meet in child's pose. So resting your forehead on the ground, your elbows either side of your head, reach the arms strongly, chopping the pinky side into the ground for a moment. And then interlace your fingers or just bend and straighten your elbows and see if you can tap your shoulders any better than you were able before. And we're going to come into a seated position. So that was a bit of a test and retest. Get yourself comfy however you need to do. So I'm going to grab this block and get seated on the block. And I want you to bring one hand to your low back without touching your low back. So palm faces away, hover, and I'm going to slide it up the back as far as I can. It will probably touch, but see if you can slide that back hand close to your shoulder blades. Release and slide the other hand. And just notice the difference, one side to the next. And it's okay to have a little bit of difference side to side. We're all dominant in one arm. Most of us are more dominant in one arm than the other. And now we're going to add opposite motion. So our arms look like little snakes kind of dancing. One arm is going into external rotation, one arm into internal rotation. And you want to see if you can get the two sides to touch one another. If you notice, like me, maybe your dominant arm also is a little stiffer. Give it a little extra moment to wiggle up your back. We just have one or two more rounds of this. Good. So as you're ready, just find a neutral position and bring one arm behind your head, hand patting your back. Catch hold of that elbow. If you're mirroring me, we've got our, I'll call this your left arm up. Catch hold of your left elbow and then just get this nice side bend to the right, full breath into the side body. Soft expression on the face. Inhale, find neutral. And release. We'll do a little cat and cow here in seated. So hands to the back of the head. Press the shoulder blades towards one another. Lift your chest. And then exhale, you're going to bring your elbows towards one another and round. Try not to pull on your head or yank on your neck. The entire time there's a gentle pressing action. Head back into hands. And as you inhale up, we're going to bring the right hand to tap the back, catch hold of that right elbow, and exhale, get a nice side bend over. A couple of breaths here, feeling almost an expansion in the side ribs. Inhale up, all arms to the sky, and then spin gently to your right. One hand behind you, one arm in front of you. Aim not to use the arms as levers, but just to settle them down softly.
Inhale, neutral. Exhale, other side. Back shoulder rolls back. Navel draws in, ribs settle back. And then we'll inhale, neutral, and we're going to exhale to the first side again. Keep your shoulders spinning, keep your spine spinning, but now we're going to look over opposite shoulder. So if your torso is spinning to your right, your chin is going to turn to your left. I'm using the back of my hand to push gently into my outside leg here. And that's not a strong action, it's mostly just to stabilize the shoulder and to hold the position. And I'm trying to keep my ears and my eyes level with the horizon so I don't tilt to the side here. Inhale, arms up. Lengthen, 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 tractioning your spine. Exhale, other side. And then spin, chin, opposite direction of your shoulders. There is an aim not to tilt your head in the same direction that you're spinning to. So maybe lift your back ear just a little bit. Keep your eyes level with the horizon. Ears level with the horizon. Gaze turns deeper into the twist. And then inhale, back to center. And exhale, neutral. We'll shift anything that you're sitting on, set it off to the side. And you're welcome to stay upright if you'd like to be in a seated meditation, but we are going to do just a little bit more for our upper back on the back. So wiggle your hips relatively close to your knees. And if you need to hold onto your legs to do this next move, you can. You can hold onto the front and then the back of the legs to settle yourself down. Or you can go kind of hands-free and just lower down vertebra by vertebra. That's a good sign that you've got control over the muscles of your upper back. Set your feet to the edges of your yoga mat. Bring your hands to the back of your head. We start off in this position like you're just stargazing. And then drop your knees right and left. I'm not a big fan of the passive stretching of the upper back. I'm not a big fan of just parking something under your ribs and popping them up towards the ceiling. It's so much more important to get the strength and the stability there. So when you're done, you can find stillness in your legs, maybe stretch them out as I did. And reach your arms by your ears again. Get this lengthening action, thumb side down into the ground. And reach, ribs snuggle to the ground, arms extend and almost traction your spine. And if you'd like to feel this in a more concentrated way, hover your knees into your chest and then try and reach. The lats, latissimus dorsi, are attaching to your arms, and they're attaching to the thoracolumbar fascia of your low back, all the way into your pelvis, all the way into your sacrum. And so just by moving your arms, you can actually create the conditions for improved mobility of your lower trunk, not to mention your upper trunk. And then from here, open the arms to the sides, cactus or T-shape. Drop your knees to one side, chin to the other. One more breath. Moving through neutral, take your knees to the other side.
As you inhale, move back through neutral. And get yourself comfortable for Shavasana. If you'd like a rolled up blanket or a pillow under your knees, go for it. You can also keep your feet flat. Settle your knees onto one another. Palms up on either side, hands to belly. Whatever feels good for you. And if you are on your back, I encourage you to have a t-shirt nearby to cover your eyes. Block out the light. There's a Sanskrit word for withdrawal of the senses, and we can't really shut off our ears, we can't really shut off our skin and our sensory organ of the skin, but we can close our eyes. If you're choosing seated meditation, make sure that you've got a little support underneath of you for that. And settle down. Feel the places where your bones can sink into the earth. Where the jaw can soften. Muscles around the eyes can soften. Muscles of the scalp can soften. How easy can the breath be? If you'd like to stay longer in Shavasana, to stay longer in meditation, you're welcome to turn this off. And stay still. And if you're ready to move, I encourage you to return your awareness to your breath. Invite the breath to get a little bigger and a little bigger. Start to wiggle your fingers, start to wiggle your toes. Gently draw your knees to your chest. Hug everything in. Rock a little side to side. Roll onto your right side or whatever side would feel good, pressing up to a comfortable seated position. Bring our palms together over the heart, sternum to thumbs, chin to chest. Back of the neck, long, long, long. Allow the corners of the mouth to turn up in gratitude for our health and our well-being on this day.
for our capacity to move, for this community that we create together. Breath evenly through the front body, side body, back body. Feel the expansion not just in your abdomen, also in your chest and all the nooks and crannies. Bring the thumbs to the center of the forehead. Reminder for kindness in our thoughts. Thumbs to the lips or to the chin for a reminder of kindness in the words we speak internally and externally. Thumbs to the heart center for, most of all, kindness in our actions. Let's be kind to ourselves and to others. Let's work every day to dissolve this sense of separation and difference that is the greatest illusion. That work is our yoga. Namaste.